Hello, and welcome back to yet another empowering episode of Pep Talks with Megan De La Concha. That is me, your host, and I am so excited that you have once again, or maybe for the first time, have decided to join me in listening to this 30-minute little ditty on how to instill confidence, resilience, and transformation through faith. So, let's dive right in. This is a conversation that I have been wanting to have. I mean, I think I say that on every episode, but this has truly been something that I have discovered within the past few months, especially being on my own journey. By now, you guys probably have listened to my 3-part mini-series of my lessons in obedience, and where I just shared my story on the conflict I was having between making a huge career decision, and that was leaving my 9-to-5 and going into a home-based business and fully immersing myself in purpose, and developing this podcast, plus the program, plus books, plus journals, plus everything else that God has tasked me to do. And at the end of the 3-part series, you will find the many blessings that God bestowed upon me after I just simply obeyed and waited in faith. So on this journey, especially when you know that God has called you to do something and you start walking in all that faith and you start deepening your relationship with the Lord and you start to connect with Him on such deep levels and you are just filled with His knowledge, you get a sense as a human that every single ounce of you and your free time needs to be dedicated to this specific cause. For me personally, it would be every spare moment I had should be creating content, recording, continuing to develop my program, continuing to create landing pages and learn about marketing. And if I wasn't creating, it was learning, right? It was educating myself on a home-based business, on tax education, on the legal aspects, everything, just everything. I mean, it's a whole new world that I'm in. So I feel that because God has blessed me with so many amazing opportunities, that every waking moment has to be dedicated to the work. And what I came to realize is that when there were moments of uncertainty or moments that I just needed to step back, meaning the days that I just needed to sit on the couch and read a book, or sit on the couch and watch a romantic comedy on Netflix, I was feeling guilty about that stuff because I kept thinking to myself, I really need to be doing the work. I really need to be doing the work. The work, the work, the work. But y'all, we have to redefine that narrative. We have to reimagine what that looks like. Because I'm sure to many of us who are in our careers, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's working in the corporate world, no matter what it is, or being a stay-at-home mom, no matter what our work is, what does that look like to us? And for me, it was sitting at a desk in front of a laptop or in front of my phone, creating, researching, developing, learning, educating, teaching. That's what the work looked like to me. And so any time that was spent away from that, I didn't consider as work. I actually considered it as, I am distracting myself or I am procrastinating. But God did not make us to be Energizer bunnies. We are not in a factory. We are not on an assembly line, tasked to do one thing and one thing only. Because the work is not just the specific job that you are doing. The work is your life. God didn't just give you a purpose. He's given you many purposes. Your husband, your wife, your significant other, your kids, your friends, your family. And what we have to settle down and realize and actually accept is that your life is the work. So when I started to feel that I was a little bit off balance or just something just wasn't clicking, and I was, so I was typing faster and I was Googling faster and I was recording more and I was pushing out the content more, and it still didn't feel right. When I really took a step back to see what the bigger picture was, because sometimes we get too close to see really what the big picture is. We become very laser focused. But sometimes you have to just take a step back. It's like when you're creating, when you're painting, and you're so focused on the details, which, yes, matter. But in order to get the picture, the entire picture to flow and integrate together, you've got to take a step back to see where the balances are, the checks and balances of the painting. Where you would need to add a little bit more color, where you need to add a little bit more vibrancy, create a little something extra over here. You can't neglect corners and borders and different spaces, or else the painting is off balance. And the entire painting is the work, not just a section of the painting. So when you take that and you apply it to your life, sitting in front of the laptop, creating and developing and doing what God has created for you to do, yes, is a part of the work, but it is not the work. We often, especially in this day and age, and especially in our society, we often use the word grind, the grind. And we take some sort of pride in it. Like, oh, look at me, I'm really grinding it out. Meaning, I've got, I don't go to bed till midnight, till 1:00 a.m. I am so dedicated. Or I get up at 3 a.m. I only get 4 hours of sleep. I run on coffee all day. I am grinding it out day and night. We look at that as sort of like a sense of accomplishment. When really, no, God is like, whoa, I didn't tell you to do that. I didn't tell you to neglect your sleep. I didn't tell you to stop going to your exercise classes, to your spin classes, or stop doing your yoga, or stop running, or stop taking walks. I didn't tell you to replace that little bit of time that you have with your loved one, with your husband and your wife, to cultivate your relationship, the time that you use to connect or reconnect. I didn't tell you to replace that time with sitting in front of a laptop to create another worksheet, to create another video, to create another Instagram Reels. I didn't tell you to shoo off your kids or, give them a choice of snack and say, hey, feed yourselves, and here's the TV remote controller, and go ahead and put on whatever you want. I didn't tell you to do that. Because all of those things I've given to you as blessings in your life. So as much as I want you to take care of what I've called you to do, you also have to take care of what I've given you in your life. And it is all a part of the work. None of it is separate. They might be in different buckets, but they all flow into one another. They are all integrated into one another. It's all relative. So there are many times that I've heard a couple of my girlfriends who have been down and out because they've been down and out, who actually feel guilty because they've given themselves time to rest, time to sleep, time to just reflect. And they feel guilty about that because they're not sitting in front of a computer, because they're not pushing out new content, because they're not jumping on every single accountability call, clarity call, business coaching, mindset mentor call. And they feel, and I felt the same way. In the spirit of trying to, or honoring the time, thinking I was honoring the time with my husband, that is so little because of our schedules. I've skipped business calls. so that I could take that hour or easily 2 hours and I could sit and have dinner with him. We could talk about our day. I could watch a movie with him. I could watch a show with him. But in the back of my mind, I was feeling guilty that I wasn't on this call. So I wasn't honoring my husband. I wasn't honoring my time with him. I wasn't honoring our relationship. I wasn't putting in the work that our relationship needed in order to thrive and grow and nourish. And same thing with my kids. Like when my kids start circling my desk like sharks, and I'm the piece of meat, that's when I know I need to finish up this last email and I need to go get my old crickety ass out on the carpet and play with them, puzzle, read with them. Even if they are watching a show, sit with them, engage with them, because that is a part of the work. That is all a part of the work. You going to your spin class, you taking time out for yourself, you meditating, you carving, you going into your spare bedroom or your living room or wherever it's at and taking a yoga class. That is all a part of the work because you're honoring the temple that God has given you. Every time you have a decision to either nourish yourself with this meal or that meal, you are doing the work that is needed to flourish, to do, to quote unquote grind the work that you're trying to do. But the work does not look like sitting. It doesn't just happen in front of a laptop. It doesn't happen in front of a camera. It doesn't happen just on social media. You giving yourself the extra hour of sleep because you need it, because you're mentally exhausted, or maybe you feel like a cold is coming on, or you're just preventing yourself from being sick. That is you doing the work. It is all relative. That is you doing something. And we have to get away from the idea that we say it all the time. You know, my blood, sweat, and tears went into this. Yes, it did. But you know what? It went into it from the hours of 8 to 4. Or it went into it in time blocks. And there's some days where I just have to step away. And that's okay. Now, there is, yes, a fine line of being lazy and of procrastinating. And here's one tip. Y'all know when you're doing it. Don't play. Do not play with yourself. That sounded bad. Do not play mind games. You guys know you are old enough and you are wise enough. Do not kid yourself. We all know when we are distracted, when we're being lazy on purpose, and when we're procrastinating. And we can come up with a million excuses. We are all the kings and queens of excuses because our ego mind takes over. And that is simply us just trying to avoid and resist the work that might be a little bit uncomfortable or a little bit hard to do. But you know deep down when you truly need to just step away and gain some clarity or just take care of yourself, take care of your spouse, your relationship, take care of your kids, take care of, your finances, your other job that you may be doing, a family member, a friend. We need fellowship. We need self-care. The Bible actually says in the Bible that we need fellowship, to go out and fellowship with your brethren. Meet, come together, because they have the ability to bless you and you also have the ability to bless them. You cannot hold yourself up and just sit yourself and be red-eyed and your eyes glazed over and your hunchback and your fingers hurting and your wrist hurting, your back hurting because you've been sitting at the dang computer for so long. No, That is not the work. God does not want us to grind it out. He wants us to honor him in all aspects of our lives. He does not want us to neglect not one thing, especially him. And I will tell you, at the time that I'm recording this podcast, I have neglected my morning routine, and I feel it. I feel it so hard. And I know that's exactly what it is. And that's the thing about self-awareness. As you start to grow into yourself and you create your confidence and your resilience to things, and your self-awareness grows, then you start to actually trust yourself, and you really start to trust that gut feeling. I know when it's time to take a break. I know, I have the discernment to know when I need to just sit my butt on the couch and just relax and read, watch a movie, watch a silly, goofy movie, order some pizza and just take some time to myself. I know when I need to say, I cannot attend this business call, this coaching call, or we need to reschedule a meeting because tonight my husband or my wife or my significant other has off, or I have an hour or two with them. And it might be filled with doing the dishes and getting dressed, but I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to give them my time. I know when I need to do that. And it's called balance. And not balance in the 50-50 way, because yes, there are absolutely seasons in your life where your business is going to call for way more of your time and attention than usual. And there's also seasons where your family and your relationships and just yourself, retreating with yourself, call for more time than usual. So you've got to have the discernment to know how to honor these things. I know when my kids need me. I know when they just need me to be out in the living room and watch Toy Story for the 500th time. My kids need that. They need to see me outside of this office, outside of this space. My husband needs to see me. He needs to sit with me on the couch, and I need that. I need time with my kids because that is all in the work. And the work is your life. Every single area. It's the painting. And there's times where we're going to be laser focused on different segments that need our attention. But we have to remember to step back, take a step back, and honor all pillars of our life. Because that is the real work that God has called us to do. Especially putting him first, especially carving out the time for him. And I'm not talking about, devotionals are amazing and I love them. And if that's all you have time for that day, perfect. But make sure that you carve out time to really open up the Bible, and you highlight and you mark and you tab and you just read. And you read and you read and you just pray. And you have that time with God. And make sure you give that time to sit with him. Honor that first and foremost. And if you feel like things are really off balance or that you've been neglecting things and you really feel it in your core, because you will feel it, that you turn to God and ask him to guide you, to have the wisdom, to have the discernment, to know when to hang up the phone, to know when to shut the laptop, but also to know when you should be doing the work. Because we're usually lazy and we're procrastinating because we're scared of something, because something is great, something that is going to burst open and blossom is at our fingertips, and we subconsciously know that, and it scares us. I've been there many times, and I'm going to be there so many more times. And it doesn't necessarily get easier because that's just human. We're human. But that's where your faith comes in, is to say, okay, why am I dragging my feet on this? Let's just get it done. The hardest part is getting there, right? We all don't want to I got to go to work, or I got to go to school, or even I got to go to, a birthday party I don't really want to go to. But guess what happens? The drive there, you're like, oh my God, I'm going in, I'm doing twice around the room, and then I'm leaving. Sometimes that happens, but most of the time you get there and you're conversing with people and you have fellowship and you're connecting with people, and maybe you're there with your spouse and or your loved one or your significant other or just a friend, and you're reconnecting with them on a different level because you're out, you've changed your scenery, you've changed the energy, and all of a sudden you end up you're there till midnight, and you're like one of the like they're kicking you out. So the hardest part is always the road getting there. But once you get there and you start moving, it becomes easier. So there is a fine line, but the message here is that when you need to honor a specific area of your life, that is a part of the work. That is a part of the grind, if you will. And sure, there are going to be many moments, many times where you wake up at 3 a.m. and you have a vision, and the words that you've been searching for on writing your book or writing your blog, or even doing an episode on your podcast, or you have an idea for your program or for your business, and you get up and you write that idea down, or you just start working. Yes, absolutely do that. There are times where at night you are not tired and you're in the groove, you are flowing. Do that, ride that energetic wave. But you don't need to make it the grind. You don't need to have an espresso or 3 at 7 p.m. because you've got to stay up till midnight. I've got to be up till 1 a.m. to get this work done. I didn't get anything done today. Oh, really? You didn't? Really? You got nowhere. Okay, so what did you do today? Oh my gosh, I had to take my kids to the dentist. I had to pick my kid up from school. He was sick. My kids were extra needy. My husband was home today, and we ended up working on the house, and I just couldn't get anything done. Really? Listen to what you're saying. You couldn't get anything done. See, we equate that to sitting in front of a laptop, to sitting in our office, to sitting at a desk, to being in front of our phones. That's what we create, or that's what we equate. I didn't get anything done, but really, what did you get done? You nurtured your kids. You spent quality time with your kids that not many people get to actually have because of work schedules or other issues that are in their way. Your husband was home. Your wife was home. Absolutely amazing. So what? You spent time cleaning or working on the house. That is the work. So you did get things done today. You did. You nurtured your relationships. You worked on your house. You worked on your shelter. You honored what God gave you. You did the things that are required for you to do. You didn't neglect that. So why are you feeling guilty about it? Why are you having a bad attitude about it? So why do you need to stay up till 3 a.m.? Go to bed. Go to bed with your loved one at the same time. Fall asleep together, hand in hand, or side by side. Why do you have to stay up and torture yourself to feel like you, quote unquote, got something done? You did get stuff done. You worked out today. Good. You honored the temple. You're building the strength. You ate nourishing meals today. You drank water today. All of that is doing the work. I tried to do my side hustle today, but my actual 9 to 5 was taking up so much of my time because I'm working on this big project and I just haven't been able to get anything done. Okay, you mean the 9 to 5 that resources your 5 to 9? The 9 to 5 that provides you with the house you're living in, your car payment, your insurance, health insurance, entertainment, that gives you the resource to invest in your side hustle? You mean that 9 to 5? Oh, you were paying attention to that? Oh, yeah, you didn't get anything done. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you got nothing done. Yeah, you should be frustrated. You should feel guilty. Like, come on. Does that even make any sense? Is what I'm saying to you making any sense? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? It's from a movie. I can't think of it. But when you put it in that perspective, it's like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It is not just one little picture. And we get so attached to that picture. We get so attached to what it looks like. When in reality, your life is the big picture. Your life is the work and all of the pillars in your life. They cannot be neglected, because when you are neglecting your self-care, when you are neglecting your relationships and your sleep and your finances, then you're not doing the work. You're right. So stop feeling guilty that you aren't sitting in front of a computer creating and developing and grinding it out. Both of your cell phones aren't ringing, or you have your two laptops hooked up. Stop feeling guilty that you're Netflix and chilling, because that is all a part of the work. And we really have to change the narrative of that, because we think that a booming business means that all of our time and all of our focus has to be, every waking moment has to be spent on that one thing. And that's why people can, yes, be successful in their businesses, but they have failing marriages. I know personally so many people who have a very successful business because their focus is on the business, but they've had failed marriages, plural. They do not have a good relationship with their children, who are now grown, because all they know of their dad or all they know of their mom is that they spent all their time in the business dinners, webinars, conferences, and it was like, yeah, they threw me a car, they threw me clothes, they threw me money to go shopping, but I don't have a real relationship with them, because their relationship, they're married to the business. Their kids are the business. That is not what God wants for us. That's an insult to him. That is not honoring him and the things that he has given us, the things that we've prayed for. So take a step back and look at the big picture and give yourself the acceptance and the grace and the permission to say, me shutting off my phone and not looking at my emails, or me taking a day to myself, or me taking a day for my kids, or me skipping a business or coaching call and being with my husband, that is a part of the work, because it's all relative. The energy flows through each one of those things in our lives. When you take a vacation, take a dang vacation, will you? It is so important. Not one thing is less important than the other. And it's not going to be a perfect pie chart where everything is a perfect percentage. No, it's the ebb and the flow. But as long as you keep the awareness and you keep your finger on the pulse of everything in your life, all the work that's going on in your life, and when you know that something is being neglected or starting to be neglected, that you make the decision to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to go nurture that right now, because that's what needs nurturing. When you take a step back and view the entire painting, that is honoring God. That is doing the work he has called you to do. I hope that you guys have the most wonderful, empowering week, and know that you can do freaking anything you want to do. Take a step back, nourish your life, and do the work. Remember to share, subscribe, follow me down below. Visit my website. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. And obviously here on YouTube. Drop a comment. I love you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. I'll see you next Monday.